You are now listening to the Minority Trailblazer podcast. Let the story begin.
One time for the lovers, 2 times for the ladies, 3 times for the brothers, 4 times for the babies. Do you love her? 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 1 time for the lovers, 2 times for the ladies, 3 times for the brothers, 4 times for the babies. Do you love her? 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 Brown skin, love her brown skin, love her brown. Brown skin, love her brown skin, love her brown. She my brown skin, love her brown skin, love her brown. She my brown skin, love her brown skin. Hold me down.
Welcome to the Minority Trailblazer podcast, and I'm your host, Greg Ehill, the culture change agent. On this show, we interview young, successful minorities in a variety of fields to educate, empower, and inspire our current and future generation of leaders. And yo, we got a legendary show for you today, so we're not gonna read the bios because shoot, I don't got no paper and I can't read the bio right now. And it's been that day, man. We've been on the road, been thugging it, man. It's 6:30. We've been setting up for a couple hours because we want to bring you the best content that we can deliver. Like, I've never seen so much equipment in the studio right now and the lights and stuff like that. I need to take a shower, but it's all good, man. We in Charlotte, North Carolina, and this has been interviewed, but it's been in the making for a couple years, to be real. Like, it just, but the season is about like closing circles. There's something about the number 7, right? Sure. 7 jewels, like it's something about the number 7. And this year we're bringing it full circle, and I'm excited to introduce my brother, man. This is going to be a legendary episode, one of the best episodes of season 7. So, yo, without further ado, I would like to introduce my brother, Khaleel Loyd, right? Right. Okay, I'm going to make sure I said it right. Khaleel Loyd, to the Minority Trailblazer podcast, man. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for having me.
Man, we in here, man. So, man, this is it's a moment right now because this week's been a lot, right? Like, we probably going to air this podcast somewhere October, September, November, but this is the week that, I mean, it's been going crazy in Milwaukee. Police brutality as usual. So the energy's been kind of tepid, to say the least, right? Yeah, so, I mean, to be here recording content with my other brother, Woe, in the background, setting us up, getting us right, I don't take it for granted because we know we've been in situations in our life where we probably couldn't be here to this day. Exactly. And that's the crazy thing about the culture and life. Like, we're supposed to still exist in a plane, deliver, do stuff for our business, do stuff for our kids and all this other stuff. But it's like, yo, like, it's real in these streets right now, for real.
Without a doubt.
And God has been blessing us to a certain extent, but sometimes you feel kind of weird. Like, we getting all these blessings, we locked in, we doing this stuff. I'm about to go to Cali for 13 days, but it's like, people getting killed, people getting shot. Right. And you always have to work with this duality. And we be in spaces worlds where people not even acknowledging that stuff, right, which is kind of weird. It's not even the focus of the podcast, but it's real, right? Like, when you shoot out those proposals you're gonna work on later today, most of the people that read them proposals, they ain't moved by no march on Washington. They days just going on as planned. They worried about bandwidth and Wi-Fi and their kids getting the right instructions and all this other stuff. So I had to preface that because as we enter in this show, we just want to set the table, man. Like, this and what we have in the culture, being able to break bread with brothers, man, talk openly and honestly on and off camera is unique, man. So I want everybody to realize when we record this content, if you're new to this show, realize, man, like, this is sacred ground and we want to treat it as such. But with that being said, man, if you can you share with us, the audience, man, a quote or a mantra that you stand by, and then give us a practical story about how you apply that quote or mantra to your everyday life?
Yeah, for sure. Well, first off, Greg, I appreciate you having me on the podcast.
No doubt.
I've been a huge fan, for the past maybe 4 or 5 plus years, man.
Yeah, and, crazy, right?
Yeah, it's a blessing just to be here with you because I remember seeing you on the gram, doing your thing, and I was just so inspired that another brother, in a fraternity, but also just another brother was out here really being an inspiration and trailblazing. You know what I'm saying? No pun intended. But to answer your question, man, I have quite a few mantras that I go by, but one that's really sticking out to me right now is 3 words. Identify, adapt, conquer. So for me in my life, just to kind of give you a backstory, I was born in New York, but raised in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Yeah.
And, I'm from the south side of Greensboro, grew up there, what one would call a low poverty, neighborhood, high crime, high drug infested neighborhood. But all in all, we were able to do what we had to do, right? We were able to survive. I had 2 parents in the household, so that was a huge blessing. And I had 2 younger brothers, and I still have 2 younger brothers that, work with me still in the business.
Yep.
That I felt like I needed to make sure that I set a good example for. But navigating through the environment that I was in, I realized that it was important for me to really identify where I was at, adapt and be a chameleon to certain situations that I may have been placed in. And then from there, conquer those situations, right? Be the best that I can be in whatever I want to do and whatever I set out to do. And so that's kind of the mantra that's carried me from, elementary to middle to school to high school. Even before I kind of came across that vernacular, that vocabulary, I was always adapting.
You always embodied it
in the space, to try to be the best that I could be. And man, it's been quite a journey. But I'm so thankful that I'm right here on the Minority Trailblazer podcast. That means that I'm doing something right.
Yeah. You can relax, man. You can sit back, bro.
Okay.
You can sit back. We good? We still in frame? Can we push it up to make sure you sit back?
You good.
All right, can we get comfortable? We get real in this.
Let's do it.
So, with that being said, man, can you share with the audience what's the last situation you conquered, man?
Man, I feel like I conquer myself daily.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's a situation that's just like, I don't feel like I necessarily have to stop conquering. I feel like it's always kind of me versus me.
Yep.
When it comes down to it. So I'm constantly in a space of trying to be better than I was yesterday. Especially within my business. It's one of those things where there's a huge learning curve to being a business owner, to having the responsibility of bringing in my own salary, paying my own bills, not coming from any sources outside of what we're bringing to the table in terms of our services and the products that we provide. And then, you alluded to this in your opening sentiments. It's really just dealing with the duality of life, dealing with the madness of what's going on right now in our nation, in our cities and around the world, but specifically now what's happening in 2020, we're dealing with a lot of factors that we've never had to deal with
once
in one particular year, right? We're in a global pandemic, right? Being affected by this COVID-19 virus. But then something that has been going on for quite some time since the inception of this nation is that we have the authorities that be killing our Black community. That's killing us, literally. And, there's a lot of unrest going on right now, but I think a couple things that are coming out of this that are positive is that we're able to come together. People are waking up, right? We have social media, we have cameras. So now police and the authorities that they are now being held accountable.
Quick question, can we flip it?
I don't know.
Because if we flip it side, then we can get the angle on that in the frac.
Always
no.
Yeah.
All right, so keep rocking, bro.
Yeah. We're just in a time where I feel like the community now is really coming together. Like we're really able to rally around issues that are affecting everybody.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important for us to realize a couple things, like our power, in terms of our spending power, our intellectual power, and then just our power together, right? I think there's a lot of examples historically of what we've done when we've really come together and built up communities, right? I mean, one of the most famous that folks should know is 1921 Tulsa, Oklahoma, right? But even before then, that was the massacre. But before then, there was a thriving community in Tulsa, predominantly Black. And they had hospitals, they had movie theaters, they had their busing systems, and, obviously, folks didn't like that. White folks didn't like that. And they came and terrorized and bombed and killed all these people. And we no longer
have a lot of examples of those particular communities right now in our particular society. I'm sure we have a little pockets here or there, but just imagine from the early 1900s, if we were able to keep and maintain those communities, what it would do for us right now. And so I think, what I always like to talk to my brothers and talk to my sisters about within the community is how do we recreate, that particular system and structure in today's modern age, because it's time for us to go ahead and come together and stop bull jobbing. I think we understand that now.
I think the difficult part, as we that we'll probably touch on this interview, man, is two things: patience and sacrifice, right?
Yeah.
Because when we talk about reinvesting in our community and things of that nature, we got to make money, right? You got two people on staff, and your other brother, he's part-time, bringing them on full. It's like, well, you want to help Black business, but you start throwing out rates and certain things, they're gonna be like, bruh. So then it's like, so who's gonna make the sacrifice? Are they gonna make the sacrifice of the investment? Do you make sacrifices and cut rates or do things of that nature?
Right.
And we're not gonna go in depth about it, but those are, because in theory it sounds well, right? But then we always say, hey, we want to take it to the next level. We want to level up, right? Well, shoot, a lot of times, unfortunately, in Western culture, that level up means white business because they got bigger budgets, right? We're trying to get the corporate bread. Corporate bread different, right?
Yes, very much so.
So I think that the gap is, if you are Black in corporate, figuring out ways to get people on, so then share it. Because then once you get more resources, then you can allocate more time to projects that maybe can't really fit the budget. But we got to find a way to work within those gaps, because realistically, if you're really trying to say bring your next brother on full time, what you have to do, you got to bring on more clients, right? Or the clients you have scale up.
Right.
But what percentage of clients do you believe that are African American that you serve right now?
To be honest, we work with a bunch of nonprofit organizations that are really like mission and vision led around the community focus, around like doing good, serving the underserved communities. And so I would say really a good 50% of our clients are, Black or African American. And that's a huge blessing, because it's nothing better than doing business with folks in your community.
Yeah.
I feel like, a lot of people, some people may not have the best experience, working within a community, but I think that's something that we just have to push through.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect, but understanding that we never started off with an equal playing field. We have to give our brothers and sisters some grace. It ain't gonna be perfect all the time.
Yeah.
But for us, I think we have a good, diverse clientele base, and it's continuing to grow. But because people understand that, for one, we're a family, and, we come from a Black and brown community, people relate to us and they want to do business with us in a real way. But for us, we also are really, really intentional about doing good business, right? Making sure that we follow up. We really take pride in our business acumen to be able to service our clients at a high level, so that they know, like, it's transparent across the board. You're going to have a conversation with us. You're going to have a discovery call, right? From there, once we kind of negotiate the budget, we send you a budget proposal. You get it. It's itemized. You get a good understanding of what you're getting, how much time we're putting into it. And then from there, we proceed with our pre-production process, our production, where we show it with our cameras, and then post-production, right? So what we try to do is make sure that everything is laid out, is transparent across the board. Clients know what our expectations are, and we know what we're tasked to do. And so that's what's really important in terms of structuring business, is like, the business comes first. Budget proposals, your agreements, like these are all standard, documents that you have to have in place in order to do business at a basic level. And then as you continue to elevate and work with other companies, billion-dollar companies, you'll realize that you need to go ahead and have the right structures and systems in place to be able to service your clients. So I think that's very important. But we got a diverse clientele, and if you guys are watching this and you need any visuals or you need any marketing support, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll be happy to service you.
So which brings us to, let's take a whole step back, because I didn't do a proper bio or intro. So those, we already talking about videos and stuff like that. break down our audience, man, like who you are. Like you briefly talked about where you come from, but talk about the business real quick so they can kind of level set for those that are new to us and things that are new to y'all rather, about the business, what y'all do. And then we're going to unpack it and see how much you've grown, because I've seen even the business structures and templates. I guarantee when you first started, it wasn't like that.
Nah, not at all.
And we want to get everybody at minimum in whatever business you are, or even professionally, at a level where you're at least operating at the minimum level of efficiency, because what I'm seeing a lot right now, it's cool online to like post on Twitter, Instagram, hey yo, give me my rate and not negotiate and whatnot, but you're the same people that's not like, bro, you're not even doing a discovery call, like, or you have no templates on how to make payments, or we trying to get you bread and we can't even get you money, like, because and there's levels to it. We want to harp on this because these are mistakes that I've made, mistakes that you made, but now you want high level bread, you want top dollar, but it's like, yo, get those frameworks to make it easy to have those top dollar conversations. So share with our audience, man, more about your business, man, and from the start, and then we're going to unpack it.
Yeah. So again, my name is Khaleel Loyd. I serve as the executive producer at Lloyd Visuals. We are a creative agency, but we specialize in digital storytelling. So Lloyd Visuals is comprised of myself and my two younger brothers, Najim and Malik. Najim is our kind of like digital brand guru. So he focuses on our branding and marketing. Malik is our lead cinematographer and editor. So he is just a whiz kid and around all of the visuals that you see online on our website, on our Instagram page. He is truly a genius, and a prodigy when it comes down to his skill set and what he does. So man, by the grace of God, we've been operating now. It'll be 4 years, December 19th of this year, it'll be 4 years that we have been in business. And we've had the prestige honor of working with companies such as, Airbnb, BBC, Institute for Responsible Citizenship, a nonprofit based in DC, communities and schools, even some of the other like fashion brands like Nike, Foot Action, Clark's, just to name a few. Shout out to Clark's, man. I love the Wallabies. I need a sponsorship. But yeah, man. So it's been a huge blessing that, we've been able to come together, pull all of our talents together, because I feel like we are very like diversely talented, but pull those together to work towards a common goal, which is liberation, which is freedom, which is providing eventually wealth and generational wealth for our family. And so, my motto has always been, entrepreneurship, I feel like, is the key to liberation. And obviously you have different ways that you can continue to invest and build wealth. But for me, charting my own path, being my own boss was the first step in me really making it happen, for me really stepping out, somewhat building my parachute on the way down. Again, I am from Greensboro, but I came to Charlotte to go to school. So I studied healthcare, health communications and public health. And when I graduated in December of 2014, I started working as a healthcare consultant. And I did that for 3 years. It was a great experience, but I immediately knew that working in that corporate environment just wasn't for me. I excelled and I was able to get promoted a few times, but I just was not happy. I wasn't fulfilled. And it was a period of time in 2017 where I had moved back to Greensboro to help my family out. And I had got a consulting job, so it allowed me the flexibility to work from wherever had an international airport. And so I decided to move back home. And when I realized, man, I was still paying the bills, still taking care of the things I needed to take care of, I still wasn't happy. It felt like it was just putting a Band-Aid over something. And so I feel like I needed exponential change. I needed to do something that was going to drastically change my situation. And prior to that, and I kind of skipped over a few steps, is that as soon as I got to corporate, we started Lloyd Visuals, or we started talking about it. We have been in the conversation about building a business since 2015. And so we did a trial run 2015 to see if it worked out, to see if this business was even viable, if we could sustain ourselves. And then once I got to a place where I said, okay, well, we're bringing in a decent amount of money. I'm working on the weekends, or I'm hustling when I get off work. It's nonstop. It wasn't until I felt comfortable that if I did quit my job, I would have something to fall on. I would have a business that was cash flowing, that was generating some income that could potentially substitute my salary at the time. And so that's when I decided to make the jump in the end of 2017. And this would be 2018, 2019. So this would be my third year full time working in Lloyd Visuals. And so this is just the start. This is just kind of like the first building, if you will. And we plan to build a lot more buildings because I classify myself as a serial entrepreneur, excuse me. So I'm not just going to be kind of one dimensional in my approach to being an entrepreneur. I feel like I want to dib and dab in a lot of different things.
So tell me what it's like working with family, man. Like how, because I mean, I know people that have different experiences doing that, man. So
for sure.
How have you been able to kind of maintain that brotherly vibe but still execute on a high level for dang near 4 years? And that's tough.
Without
especially brothers, because I mean, brothers, y'all love each other, but I know sometimes like, bruh, like just...
Nah, that's a good question. We get that a lot. Like we get, yo, you work with your brothers? I can never work with my brother. I can never work with my siblings. And I just come from the perspective of, it's family first. We got to make it work. You know what I'm saying? Like if we fighting for the same things, if we're working towards providing a better life for our family, for our grandparents, for our aunts and uncles and immediate family, then we got to figure out a way to put our egos aside and work together. I would rather work with family before I work with a stranger. You know what I'm saying? That's just common sense to me.
Yeah.
But then when I look at, when I go on Forbes and I check out the top 100 billionaires, what I'm looking at is the Waltons. I'm looking at Johnson & Johnson. I'm looking at, these different billionaires that are families, right? So when you look at, the banking families, right?
And they kept that thing.
They kept it in-house.
Tight,
right. So when you look at the blueprint of how wealth has been generated around the world, it starts with family business. You know what I'm saying? It starts with family business. And so I think we got to get back to that. We got to find a way to really make it work. But luckily, for myself, Malik and Najim, again, we are diversely talented. So the things that I do really well, they may not do, right? The things that they do well, I don't do so well. And so we're able to kind of be that yin to the yang and complement each other very well. And it works out. It works out. So yeah, we make it work.
So what's the biggest things? I know we talked earlier about processes, templates, principles. You're there now. Airbnb, BBC, etc. But walk us through like where were you at when you first got started, man? First of all, walk us through getting your first client, and then walk us through getting your biggest client. And I'll let the audience do the parallels, right?
Yeah. So when you first get started, I like to say, and I like these phrases because I like for things just to be really like clean and straight to the point, right? Things that I can really remember and then utilize in practice. And, I talked about identifying, adapting, and conquering, right? I have another kind of 3-letter phrase that's ideate, execute, and systemize. And so as I ideate, I had to really think about, what are some good ideas that we could utilize that were like very viable to turn into a business. And so when we first started off, what I did is I realized, okay, I took inventory and first, like, what am I really good at? What could I do? Because I always preach self-awareness. I never tell anybody that, like, if you work in a job, like, go quit your job right now. If you're really passionate about something, like, really take inventory and look yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? I'm really good at this. This is a skill set that I could potentially make money off of. And these are some things that I'm not good at. So I may need to hire my weaknesses. But just to get back to your point, another kind of phrase that I like to go by is infiltrate, educate, then vacate, right? So how I looked at it is, all right, when I'm going and working within my corporate job, it's time for me to, I'm in there. Right?
We in the mix.
Now it's time for me to educate myself. So what's going on? How are they doing business? How are they getting these big contracts? When I look at the contract that I'm on and I'm servicing 20 hospitals across the nation and dealing with their data. And I'm looking at the contract. I said, oh, okay, this is $1 million contract now. Man, I'm getting a nice, little salary, but it ain't no $1 million.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
so what are some of the business practices that my company is able to do in order to attain, this type of client and get this type of contract? And once I realized that and started educating myself around the business behind how corporate entities work, I was just able to then apply that to what we're doing here at Lloyd Visuals. And so again, it's getting in there, it's educating yourself, and then from there, vacate and apply those skills, apply everything that you learned into whatever it is that you're passionate about and start building that structure. But I don't think it's rocket science. I feel like we overcomplicate things sometimes, but we have this tool called the internet. And you can literally go and find out whatever it is that you want to find out in terms of confidentiality agreements, non-disclosure agreements, service agreement templates. You can find all this information out there from a legal side, and then equip yourself with enough knowledge to then go talk to an expert and get the real deal. So that was really the foundation. It was like being in a setting, understanding, learning the tricks of the trade, and then applying that to what we do. And regarding like our clients, it really starts with
what was the first client though? Who was the first client?
Man, our first client, it was really like we started creating content for ourselves. So it was really like we just started creating content that we were really passionate about. So I would say like we were our first clients because we were like kind of like the test dummies, if you will. We had an idea, Malik had the camera, said, okay, let's film. Let's do some fashion videos. So Najim is really into urban wear. So we first started creating like fashion videos for Najim. And then when I graduated from college, Malik actually created a whole montage of my graduation. He pulled in videos from when I was like 7 years old. He interviewed my grandma, interviewed our parents, and then actually got the footage of me walking across the stage and put that together. And when I saw that, I said, wow, like it brought tears to my eyes.
Wow.
So I said, man, any piece of content that can have that much of an emotional pull on somebody, I think we got something here.
Yeah.
So it really just started off with us. Our first actually like paid client, that's hard. I mean, we work with so many people. And to be honest, bro, I don't know exactly who our first here's our first check client, here's like our first dollar, kind of if you work in retail or whatever that you put up on a wall. I can't recall our very first one, but I do know that we got a lot of support from the Brotherhood. Shout out to Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Shout out to, my chapter Mu Tau at UNC Charlotte, Pi Zeta at UNCG, and obviously, Beta Epsilon at A&T. But, a lot of the brothers and BI, man, I don't want to leave nobody out, but you know what I'm saying? But shout out to the whole, Brotherhood because, we were able to just tap into the folks that really knew us and really had relationships with us. And because they knew that, hey, I know these brothers, they do good work, let me give them a chance. And so we got a lot of support, from the Brotherhood, and I thank God for that. And, that led to, 3-4 years later, getting a contract with Airbnb. Yeah. And being able to travel all around the world.
Yeah, walk us through that. Before we go to Airbnb, I do want to bring out a couple points that were really big. One, you were your first client. People want to sell stuff. It's like, but shoot, have you used the product you sold? Did it work for you? Did you use it? Did it work? And you want to sell other people? Like, oh, I want to teach you how to be millionaires. Are you a millionaire? I want to teach you how to be more confident. I'm like, bro, you're not even that confident. Like, I want to coach and consult speakers. Like, bro, you ain't really did over 50 grand speaking. How are you going to consult and do that? Like, and we live in a culture where you think you can take a master class and voila, you a coach. Right. And no offense to that. Like, okay, I know I'm not going to mention I know there's some great sellers. I know them personally. A lot of the people that run the masterclass game. Take that course, pay $10,000, pay $5,000, pay $2,500. and learn and grow your craft, right?
Right.
But I say that to say, I think that's really big in servicing yourself, but then also too, looking like really intentionally looking at your own network of who you can add value to.
Right.
Like, because let's be, for instance, if I got a soap and you already got soap, I mean, I really can't add value to it.
Yeah.
And here's what happens. People get upset because, oh, well, Lloyd don't F with my stuff. Well, Lloyd don't need your stuff, right? Find people, like I'm telling you, everybody got these dang phones.
Right.
And you got all these contacts in your phones.
Right.
But then if you got a business, I'm talking about literally, do you have the will to look at your phone, whatever you're doing, even, and let's take a deep breath, because if y'all people that's not entrepreneurs, you're gonna think, oh, this ain't apply to me. No. Even in your career, if you need guidance on something, one, having the knowledge, know you need guidance is a skill set.
Right.
But then going through your phone, who can give me help on this?
Facts.
Immediately.
Facts.
Because you got people wallowing around, I don't know where the next step of my career, and you wallow in that space for 5-6 months, a year, when you had the people on your contact list that could have gave you that advice. So I said it to say it was really deep that you said, hold up, we should start it with people that knew us, right?
Right.
People that F with us and we can get in the game. You know, bros always want to get content, want to get sized.
Right.
So you get in that measure. So I want everybody that is listening to us to really take those two things involved. And don't just think too, even if you're at an advanced level of entrepreneurship, that you don't forget those steps. Because just like you have evolved, or I've evolved since we first met, you've evolved as well.
Without a doubt.
So our conversations that we first talked are different than what conversations we have now.
Elevated.
And imagine what they're gonna talk in 5 years, right? So I challenge everybody every now and then, go through your contacts, right?
For
And if people you ain't talked to, go ahead and delete them. I mean, you can just double tap on Facebook and Instagram and keep it moving.
Right.
But why have 2,000 contacts in your phone and you still broke?
Right.
Why have 2,000 contacts in your phone, your business struggling, your marriage struggling, your kids struggling?
Right.
Or if you're doing well, here's the catch. I think y'all about to lose me. If you're doing well and you ain't giving it back, you ain't helping other people in your contacts. You looking through stuff, oh, they need to do better. No, you need to do better in helping out the community, which goes back to our first point. As far as really intentionally in our culture, whether you're doing good, bad, or in the middle, specifically saying, how can I add value to someone else?
That's right. Yeah. Identify the problem. There's a lot of problems. Yeah, it's a lot of problems out here. So
they need to
what
be solved.
what service or what product can you provide to solve that problem? Something that you truly want to do, that you're truly passionate about doing, and that you're truly good at. So I agree, brother. I agree.
Man, I got excited about that because I'm like, yo, it's simple.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it was that simple too. You try to make things complex because here's the thing. A lot of us want to make complex so we don't have to do the work. So we can just say, oh, I tried.
It's too hard.
Like, oh, it's I try. Oh, start a business. Well, I gotta get the business plan together. Oh, I gotta get the capital. I gotta do this. Bro, you didn't have to do none of that, bro.
Yeah.
Like you didn't. But you said you wanted to do that. So then when you talk to your friends, you can be like, yeah, I'm working on it.
Right.
And your mind can say you're working on it, but you're not working on it, right?
True.
So, or even us, like I said, we're in that we hit six figures this year. It's like, hold up, let's get a meal. Well, what does that look like? Who in my network is me the meal? Who in my network can scale to that?
Right.
Have I talked to them? If I haven't done that scaffolding, 9 times out of 10, unless God say, I need you to get that, you ain't gonna get it.
Right.
So even those that are doing well, if you want to do better, we still have to follow those same rules. Because sometimes has success ever kind of lead you to a low in your career where you kind of forgot some of the principles a little bit that you based off?
Man, I'm gonna be honest, yo. Like, I haven't reached my level of success yet.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so I feel like everybody has a different definition of what success means to them.
Yeah.
You know, for me, and you know what? I'll take that back now that I'm thinking about it, right? Because I feel like I am successful based upon the freedom of time that I have, right? Like, success doesn't necessarily always have to be about how much we're netting each year. It could be, you know what? I can clear my calendar to have a conversation with Greg today. And there's nobody that's gonna tell me that I gotta check in somewhere else. So I like to retract that statement, man. I feel like there's always new levels that I can get to.
Yeah.
And so that I have achieved, you know, a level of success in terms of the freedom of time that I have. But it's a constant growth phase that I want to continue to be. And I feel like I'm a student of life. I'm never necessarily gonna like arrive somewhere and feel like, oh, I got it. I've gotten to the mountaintop. Nah, it's just a couple more steps that I got to continue to keep climbing. And even if I did reach a particular mountaintop, it's my duty to lift as I'm climbing. So it's not just about, getting somewhere. It's about, okay, looking around me and who else did I bring with me? Because what's the point to gain the whole world and lose your soul? Or gain the whole world and then not have anybody to share it with? So, for me, I feel like, man, like to be where I'm at right now at 28 years old, to, have my own office space, to have a family business that I'm working and employing my two younger brothers and employing, other Black and brown creatives in the area, that is successful. Yeah. Now, we haven't made $1 million yet, but in the grand scheme of things, we know that we already millionaires. We just haven't necessarily attained it, materialized it just yet. Yeah. But inside of us, the intellectual property that we have, the conversations that we have, the experiences that we've had make us wealthy.
And I think there's something critical about that, because there's a unique group of people in this world, and hopefully my podcast listeners, I think y'all listen to podcasts, y'all those unique people that see value in people before the value actualizes. But the key, when I wrote the book, Remember You're a Genius, is really because it's hit on what you said. If you believe who you are, who you believe you are, and you act as in it now, then really, I think Will Smith said it best. You just wait for the world to catch up.
That's right.
And then even if you never hit it, if you move in that way, man, like that's all that matters, right? The mindset, the mind state. But I want to, I ain't forgot about an Airbnb, but I do, it just popped in my mind, man. What for you, man, because I know you're a big Nipsey Hussle fan, like what is the top things that you really got from Nipsey and just his movement, his energy and whatnot? And I'm always curious, because I'm gonna be honest, I got hip after. I always respected him, but I never really understood. But now I kind of have understanding. But I know for you, you're really through and through a Nipsey fan, man. So sure. What did you get from him, bro?
You know what? Outside of, man, first of all, man, rest in peace, the late great Ermias Ascadome, aka Nipsey Hussle, man. He's probably been one of the greatest inspirations that I've had, to be honest, right? I feel like he's our modern day Malcolm, Martin, Garvey, Toussaint Louverture, like all the greats that I look up to, Fred Hampton's, like, I feel like Nipsey is up there. And it's more so about like who he is, and as a man, first and foremost, the way he carried himself, his articulation, his business acumen, the way he supported and, treated his friends around him, his brothers around him, his, his kids, his community. That's what I admired the most about Nip. Like, regardless of any song he put out, I knew that he was a real person that stood for something. And it wasn't about the glitz and glam. It was about, coming from a community that, and I have no idea. I didn't grow up in LA. I didn't grow up, on Crenshaw or anything like that. But I understand the struggle from just growing up in the hood, I'm saying?
Greensboro's real.
And what that, like what everything that comes with that. And so for him to climb up out of that maze and achieve some of the things that he achieved, man, and do it with, his close friends and family, man, that was, everything to me. And so I continue to, look up to bro in a lot of different, and I pull from a lot of his interviews, his songs, all of that good stuff. But yeah, man, rest in peace and rest in power to the late great Nip Hussle, man. But one thing that really stands out to me about Nip in terms of business is creating a business that's vertically integrated. And he talks about from like raw material to retail, being able to have a business that handles the creation of the product, the distribution, and it's going direct to consumer. So I feel like, that particular model is so important for us because we realized that we don't really necessarily need a lot of middlemen, you know, to get the job done. And so I feel like that was his approach with the Marathon store. That was his approach with the Proud to Pay campaign. You know, selling his Crenshaw CD for a mixtape for $100. Like, that was unheard of at the time. But, you know, he was able to really maximize, you know what I'm saying? He was able to get the attention of Jay-Z, who ended up buying like 100 copies and wanted them 10K. And so those were some moves right there that I looked at. I was like, damn, you know, if Nip can do it, I can, you know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, man, I pull from, you know, a lot of what he's left behind, a lot of the content, a lot of the music. And I just want to constantly like be an inspiration to the people that's proximate to me within my circle of influence. And I think I make it intentional to be sure that I'm trying to just show up as my best self always, so that I can let other people know, man, it's cool to be yourself. Like, you don't gotta be anybody that you're not. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you know, I was able to just kind of rest in that. And Nip was one of those examples where I'm like, man, you don't gotta fold, you don't gotta switch up. You can just remain true to who you are and continue to still be successful.
And there's a lot with that, man. I think one of the biggest things that I got from an example perspective is really when he set his own temperature. Like, we can let the culture, we can let our friends, our family set our own temperature. When I say that, like even controlling your schedule, controlling your price points, controlling your relationships, not controlling like in a possessive way, but controlling what energy you bring in your space, what not.
Right.
I feel like his steadfastness is like, all right, his I'm gonna dictate it. 10,000 copies at $100. Boom, it's there. Or 100 at 1,000. Okay. Some people, oh man, heck no, blah, blah. Somebody gonna buy them. And if they didn't, hey, I stood on it.
Right.
And we live in a culture where two things, and the reason why I can say this, because I've been one of the people that didn't stand on my square, been one of the people that's not a person of their word, and we've grown into becoming one of them. So that's why I can speak candidly on that is, we live in a culture where majority of people are not, their word is not bond. We live in a culture where majority of people do not stand on their square at all. If there's opportunity for them to come up, they take it. If it's beyond principle, hey, well, I'll get forgiveness later. Or it's just, and it's a weird space where that means like real people like a Nipsey, like yourself, that people that are solid, it makes it kind of difficult because, I mean, at the end of the day, if we're gonna move forward as a culture, bruh, we all gotta be locked in.
Facts.
Like, we really gotta, if we say we're gonna do something for somebody, then do it. Or if we don't, be able to communicate it. That's it.
Right.
But a lot of times the ego comes in because we don't want to seem like somebody like, oh, dang, well, they gonna think that I ain't got it. Or they gonna think that I'm not. Well, it's okay, bro. Like, because that we have to live in a consistent state of compassion and empathy, because unfortunately, that's what slavery done to us. We always empathetic, because even like there's been days I had a great day, got another contract, got this, somebody got killed. Dang, I can't even win.
Yeah.
Like, I can't be like, yo, let's get it. I gotta be like, damn. Or you get a call, your uncle, your brother in jail. You like, or somebody got pulled over or some nonsense, or you get a ticket in the mail or something you shouldn't even got pulled over for.
Yeah.
But I said that to say, Airbnb, bro.
Yeah.
Like, that's huge.
Yeah, for sure.
Walk us through that, man. How'd you get that deal? What it looked like traveling the world? I was like, bro, like, Khaleel, everywhere. Oh, I'm in California, bro. Oh, I'm in Oregon, bro. I'm in San Juan. I'm like, damn, bro. Like, what's, like, bro, hello? Like, yo, that's crazy.
Yeah, man. I always say, you know, it's power in relationships if you're a good steward of them.
Say the last part again, though.
Yeah, it's power in relationships if you are a good steward of the relationship.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not about
transactions.
Yeah, transactions, but it's not about like who you know. It's not about who knows you. It's about who knows you and who's willing to give you an opportunity. Right? And so, you know, again, the power of relationships, we were grinding. We were just doing our thing, you know, putting our content out on Instagram. And, you know, we just kind of developed a small following based upon, you know, who were proximate to us and you know, kind of, you know, the folks that saw some of our videos, they understood the quality of what we could produce. So, you know, one of the brothers that was in my chapter, he ended up graduating, I want to say in like 2011 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I never met him.
Mm-hmm.
But in this was 2019, I got a call from him. He said, yo, I think I got an opportunity for you. And, he called me up, told me about the opportunity. I said, okay, cool, sounds great. He was like, I'm gonna hit you back with more details later. So he called me back and he was like, yo, could y'all be in Mexico City in 2 weeks? I was like, what? Yeah, we can make it happen. We're gonna find a way.
Yeah,
I think we can clear our schedule.
Yeah, what we talking about though?
Yeah,
like,
what we talking about?
What's up though?
Like what's going on?
Can we be in Mexico? Like,
yeah, so
I could be anywhere.
Yeah, well, I'd be anywhere you need me to be, brother, if the price is right.
Yeah.
So, man, anyway, we were able to work out a deal, and our first, contract was, going out to Mexico City, Cancun, and San Francisco to, document some of their, it's a global training initiative that they had going on. And, we did a really good job. The team really enjoyed us, stayed, kind of fervent in making sure that we followed up, making sure that we was on time, making sure that we communicated, all the basics, right?
Yeah. The basics, the necessary basics.
The necessary basics and the foundation. Yeah. We just...
On every level. Right. That's what we think. We think, when I get to that level, then I'm going to be on time. Then I'm going to have this. But then well, shoot, you just trashing everybody else.
For sure.
And then they go be like, what's your references? Or word get around.
Yeah.
You feel me? But that's...
For sure. It's when preparation meets opportunity, right? We was already prepared. The opportunity presented itself. We was ready. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. So we was ready. We hopped on that plane and plot right in Mexico City. And, it was always a surreal experience, right? But just to kind of fast forward, after that particular engagement, it got us a contract extension of 10 cities around the world.
Wow.
And so, we were able to travel. Let's see if I can remember. I'm pretty sure I can remember. But so after that, we hit Barcelona, Spain, Lisbon, Portugal. We had Cape Town, South Africa. We did London, Paris, Sweden.
Bruh.
Rio.
Y'all did, bro.
Sao
What?
Paulo.
Bruh.
We did Bali, Indonesia, and Seoul, South Korea.
For real?
For real.
That's crazy. And what? In 2 weeks?
No. This was over a span of I'll say 6-8 months.
Wow.
All last year. So 2019 was a big year for us. We got a chance to literally travel the world.
And get paid for it.
Get paid.
And then y'all was eating good. Y'all was living good.
Oh man. I mean, yeah, for sure.
Did y'all do any other work during that time?
Yeah. I mean, in between times that we weren't traveling, we had projects here in the States. So another man, by the grace of God, we were able to meet Congressman John Lewis, may he rest in power, and got to sit in his office on Capitol Hill. And I got a chance to interview, the late great John Lewis as well. So that was all in 2019. So we had a phenomenal year last year.
That's crazy. So, man, did you have time to really reflect, while you were in there? Hold up, we really doing this. We really are everywhere doing this, getting paid to do it. And it's kind of fun, because the world sometimes will trick you at times. I say this for myself. It'll trick you when you're living a life that you always wanted to live, that you should feel guilty about it, or you should it's something where it's something's not right, or it's dang. And I guess that can kind of be in black, because end of the day, all it takes is one thing, and you're well, dang, so, did you ever feel that way? Or did you ever have a time to assess?
I tried to live in the moment as much as I could, to be honest. I knew that it was a gift from God. I honestly felt like there are no coincidences in life. There's always a reason behind why you are at a certain place at a certain time. Everything. There's a reason why we're right here having this conversation. And when you're truly operating in your purpose, the sea is going to part ways for you. And people and opportunities are going to come into your life that you wouldn't even imagine if you were just obedient. If you realize, man, when you become obedient to really tapping into the higher power and the power within, and you start walking in your purpose, you're gonna realize that, it's way bigger than you. But I got a chance to really like just soak in and bask in the experience. But I feel like I got a chance to just meet God every day, on my airplanes, through meeting folks in different countries, through the experiences and the conversations that I was having. And, I continue to have like out-of-body experience. Every time we landed in a different place, I would do this thing where when we landed at a particular airport and we took an Uber or taxi anywhere, man, I just stare out the window and just thank God for, safe travels, but then also the opportunity just to be here. Mm-hmm. Like vividly, just remember
Greensboro. That's it, bro.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Just a young brother with a dream, man, that, want to provide for his family and just do what I got to do to make this world a better place while I'm here. And to have those experiences really, they really allowed me to see that, okay, I may be on the right path.
Question, man. Let's do it like this. So if you had to give yourself any advice, man, your 21-year-old version of yourself, that's 7 years ago. Matter of fact, let's go back 10 years ago. 18, man. 18-year-old Lloyd, he walked in this room, sat down right here, and he said, yo, what you got to tell me, dog? Like, you looking like you getting bread, but you're scared. You're like, what's up, bro? Like, put me on. What you got for me so I can accelerate this, man? Like, what would you tell him?
Man, the 18-year-old version of myself, I would tell him, to don't be so hard on yourself. Life is a journey. It's a lot of ups and downs. The path to success, or whatever success looks like for you, is up and down. It's a squiggly line. It's not a linear path. But you don't have to rush through life. I would definitely tell my younger self just to, take your time, to continue to surround yourself with people that can add value to your life. But all in all, man, I wouldn't really change anything about who I was at 18 because it really prepared me for who I am now. So it's like a lot of the things that, I feel like I should tell myself, I feel like I was in the mental space to know that, man, I'm gonna be okay. Like I had that mindset when I was 18 years old that, I was gonna be somebody. And I actually 10 years ago met a good friend, one of our mutual friends, Chuck, when I was 18 years old. And this was when I was actually graduating from Dudley High School and about to go to, South Africa for the first time. But I was able to run into that brother. So yeah, big shout outs to Chuck, man. He doing his thing. But nonetheless, that's what I would tell myself is that, just keep it in a row, man. Stay in your lane. Don't feel like you gotta do too much. You gonna be all right.
What would you say is in your business journey thus far, or personal, whatever one you want to go, has been your most challenging moment, but also one of your most grateful moments?
You know what? I don't take life for granted. I mean, I wake up every day and I'm just so thankful that I get to do what I do. And then in terms of my most challenging moments, I'm in the thick of it right now. Like we're growing. I'm bringing on, some help in the form of virtual assistants and potentially project managers. We got some interns coming in mid-September. Just got in a new space. So we're at a place right now where we're growing and people are understanding how important it is to have some type of digital presence, right? If you didn't realize this pre-COVID, then you know this now.
Yeah, because now it's like,
yo, you gotta have something popping online or people are not going to know you.
Yeah.
And so because we are in the business of creating content, folks are, now hitting us up, a lot more. And so there's a spike in terms of the inquiries that we're receiving. But yeah, I would say this is some of the most challenging times right now, but I understand that it's the time for us to continue to grow. It's the time for me to continue to elevate as a leader, as a businessman, as a CEO, as a brother, as a son, as all these titles that I take on. This is the most challenging time, and I'm most grateful for today. You know what I'm saying? Because all we got right now is the present, and it's a present for sure. So
before I go to the rapid fire round, I got five. I'm gonna say 5 words, and you just kind of give your thoughts and think your thoughts about it. All right.
All right, cool.
Let's start off with energy.
Reciprocate it. Yeah, you gotta reciprocate that energy and high vibrations. Yeah.
Faith.
Faith without works is dead. You gotta continue to, keep the faith, keep that belief within yourself, and the people around you that you build relationships with.
Closure.
It's important in life to have closure so that you can move on to the next phase. So, if there's anything that you feel you do need closure on, be intentional about having that conversation, or closing whatever chapter, or relieving yourself of that old trauma in your past so that you can continue to elevate and grow from that experience.
Humility.
Humble. It's important to continue to keep a humble spirit about yourself, no matter how much money you make, no matter where you end up traveling to in life. You understand that everybody that you come in contact with has a story that you know nothing about. So it's important that you continue to stay in a humble state of mind, but at the same time, be confident in who you are. It's a balance.
And then the last is the true essence of confidence.
I think the true essence of confidence is just being true to who you are and not being afraid to wrestle with some of the insecurities that, we face on a daily. Is to muster up the confidence to know that I am worthy, that I am good enough, that I am, or that I am on this earth for a reason. And so continue to lean into that confidence and continue to build that up. Yeah.
How did you find out who you were?
I look myself in the mirror every morning. I ask myself those tough questions. But before then, I would ask my parents, where did y'all come from? You know what I'm saying? My mother, she's from South America. She's from Suriname. In South America.
That's how you got the South American hair.
You know what I mean? That's why I got that kimosabi, you know what I mean? And I've never visited Suriname, but I got family out there.
All the places you've been, you got to go back, man. Is there anything back there? Because I'd be like, oh, you got to go back. Like, bro, you might not want to go back there. Like.
Nah, it's, I got my family back there. My grandfather.
Go back there and get some land, bro.
I need to, man. I swear, I want to go back. It'll be like going to Africa for me, because, I've been to Africa like 3 times. And it's a different feeling being on the continent. But yeah, I would ask my parents, like, where did you come from? Obviously, if you're looking at me, you could tell I'm mixed with a little something. So as I was growing up, I would always get that question, like, you Hispanic, you Chinese, what up? You know what I'm saying? You know how I was back in the day. People, folks just ignorant. We passed the schedule. But yeah, I had some of those conversations with my parents when I was young, and I was able to look at the map and say, okay, that's where Mom from. And I was able to ask my dad, okay, so where are you from? You was born in New York. Okay, well, where's Grandma from? Oh, okay, Grandma's family came from the Barbados. Oh, okay, they was able to help work on the Panama Canal, and then they migrated up to New York. Okay, that makes sense to me. So now I know that I got Caribbean, ancestors, Caribbean roots, obviously by way of Africa. And then I have roots in South America and Suriname by way of Indonesia. And so that really helped give me a perspective of who I was. And then, I think dealing with, challenging situations and overcoming them, you get to grow fast. You know what I'm saying? Like when you living in a certain environment, you get to find out who you are really quick because you got to make some decisions, and you were put in different positions where you're going to have to stand on all 10, you know, or you know, it ain't going to go pretty for you. So, you know, I came into a lot of those situations where, we grew up and we had to squabble sometimes. I had to make sure that I protected, you know, my little brother sometimes. I had to, you know, figure it out, you know, with the females and deal with them too. And, you know, so it was a constant learning experience. But after going through all of that, you know, finding who I was, you know, from my parents and then going through the experiences that I went through, you know, I was able to ask myself that question and really just come to terms that, I am myself, you know what I'm saying? Like, I am Khaleel Loyd. My first name is Yusuf, you know what I'm saying? So Yusuf means Joseph in Arabic, and Khaleel is companion, a friend of God. And our names always had meaning. So that was another source of understanding who I was as well through the names that my father and our parents gave us. But yeah, all in all, man, I'm just a humble servant, man. I'm a vessel, and I just hope to do God's work while I'm here, so that you know, again, I could lead this world better than I found it.
Yeah, man. And if you had to impart one piece of it could be life or business advice to our audience, man, before we go to our rapid fire round, man, what would you share?
One piece of advice, you know, I would say continue to just dig deep and come to terms and be okay with who you are as an individual. I think self-awareness is key. So we run into a lot of just distractions and we kind of run into this comparison game because now we got social media and we can see what everybody's doing, what everybody looks like.
Allegedly what people look like. Allegedly what people are doing.
Man.
Like you social media, like, oh damn, and then you like, bro,
it's a
like
highlight reel.
It's really, but no verifications.
Right. It's like, come on, man. Like these blue checks, they don't really mean nothing. And so, you know, sometimes you gotta take yourself out of the matrix. And I feel for the younger generation because that's all they know. But it's
your kid, how old your kids, bro?
3 and 5.
Bro, it's the belly of the beast, bro. Like,
amen.
Yeah.
But yeah, just, you know, self-awareness is key. That's the biggest piece of advice that I would give anybody, and, you know, really take your time to, you know, wrestle with some of those tough questions, but then also establish a board of directors around you that you can go to for advice, that you can bounce ideas off of, that are diversely, you know, experts in different fields. I think that's very important as well. So having a good team, strong team around you too.
So let's go to the rapid fire round, man. I got 5 rapid fire questions, rapid fire answers. You ready to roll?
Let's go.
What's the best piece of advice that you have never received?
That I never received? Damn, and it's supposed to be rapid fire, so I gotta get off the top of my head that I never received. That $1 million is really not a lot of money.
Yeah. I mean, to a certain extent. It's like, damn, like it sounds good. It sounds deep when we in these chairs. But I thought about it, I was like, bro, like
it's a lot, but it's not a lot. You know what I'm saying? It's like
it sounds. I'm like, hold up. You say yeah. Well, I'm like,
no, I don't know about that. I mean, there's a lot I do with it. But I think from the concept of like understanding how much it takes to run a business.
Yeah, for a bit. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I guess that's the framework that I'm working inside of, is that, you know, as an individual, right? So you can make $1 million, you can gross $1 million, but how much are you keeping?
Oh yeah, I know people that gross $1 million and them like they broke. I'm like, bro,
for sure.
Why start business?
And then Uncle Sam, see, I again, so, and I may be jaded because I never made $1 million, but I understand, like, once you get to that certain tax bracket, you know, Uncle Sam taking 50 of it. You know what I'm saying? Then you got other expenses.
Unless you got creative accountants.
That's true.
That's the next level of things, man.
$1 million, but how much are you keeping?
Oh yeah, I know people that gross million.
I'll give reparations.
I was just about to say, I knew you was going to.
Yeah. I'm giving reparations. We need that.
But how much though?
Yeah, we need that.
Because we in the fabric of also don't you dare Joe Biden talk about no free college. Don't you dare talk about no dang free college, bro.
Yeah, they need to wipe away all that student loan debt.
And then some land.
For sure, we need some land.
Don't just give us cash, give us the land.
We need 40 acres and a mule that was really provided, that was promised to us, that got reneged on, you know what I'm saying? So we need to account for the inflation. And so we might need to time that 40 acres by whatever, you know what I'm saying? Whatever calculations make sense. But, you know, I know they was calling for like 14 trillion, you know, in reparations or something like that.
Oh, so. They can, but they got 3 trillion. They got this PPP stuff, and they cashed out their homies and stimulus checks. They just, wow, the Americans, the COVID, like, I'm like, well, shoot, if that's the case, we handing out bread like that, let's go ahead, let's run it up.
Man. Let's do it, for real. So yeah, I mean, reparations, run us that. We need that.
And then the last question of the podcast, man, I consider everyone a culture change agent that's on the show in their own right. So for yourself, man, if you could change one thing about, if you could change one thing about the culture or society, rather, most specifically our African American culture, what would it be and why?
If I could change anything, I would just more so want unity, more unity, for us to operate in the spirit of Umoja, which is one of the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. I would want us to really understand and learn our true history, where we really come from, understanding that we was already here before colonizers came. Yeah. And I think that there's power in that. So once people really tap into who they truly are, that's gonna really bring forth that empowerment, that confidence, and, you know, again, just being able to know who you are as a person. I think that's very important. So yeah, that's one thing that I would want, is just more unity, and just for people to really understand who we truly are and where we truly came from.
So, Minority Troublers Nation, man, that's a wrap. That's a wrap, man. So from the bottom of my heart, man, I want to thank you for giving us over all your time, man, allowing us to come invade this studio, set up everything, man.
Sure. Always welcome.
It's been a pleasure journey, and I just love it that we just, man, honestly, at the end of the day, these podcasts, especially with brothers like yourself, we just vibe and we just continue to build.
Yeah, that's it.
We just building. Like, I don't even, I'm at the point in life right now where, to be frank, everything's actually on the cake, man. Yeah. Like, I'm just living now. Right, people are like, yo, G, you going all this other stuff. I'm like, yo, I'm just living. Like, really, I've accomplished what I set out to accomplish. Right. Everything, like, all the other stuff is cool. We're gonna hit more marks. We got more levels. We got more gears.
Right.
But bro, like, I'm proud of to say I've accomplished what I have a great group of friends. I always have a great network. Always have. I'm treating them honorably. Now we're doing that. My mom proud of me. My dad proud of me.
That's what's up.
And bro, like, like everything that I wanted to do, we've done. Like, there's other levels, but that stuff, that's worldly validation. That'll come, that's cool, but I don't need it like that. So, I mean, I got my people, and then shoot, we got the church and my family, man. So I just tried to live in that space because, you know, like you said, sometimes we shortcut ourselves, but then what if God take us? And we like, oh, dang, I ain't reached the level of success. Like, nah, bro, like, because people that would die for what you got.
That's right. That's right.
And shoot, you would have died for what you got if you knew what you was going to get this time, right? Yeah. So, I mean, I just always try to, like I said, I'm working on being more present with people like yourself and people like Whoa, and just in general, like, man, acknowledging the richness of life. Of course, we say that in a time where people are getting killed and people, but honestly, it's that's the nature of the game, man.
Sure.
Ain't none of us gonna be here forever.
The only thing promised in life is death.
That's it.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
a hard truth.
So
we in on that, man. Minority Trouble Nation. Make sure you do 2 things. 2 things only. One, make sure you leave a review. Give us 5 stars. If it's not 5 stars, email me so I can delete it and act like I never saw it, right? Number two. Make sure you changing the freaking culture. Good night.